Hello.
Can't pass me the. It's not connected.
It's not connected.
Hello.
Oh,
It has been on.
Hello. Thank you.
Okay, can you?
Where'd you get a microphone?
Ah, okay.
Hey, John.
Is there any sound?
So it has been unmute.
Oh. Actually, on mute.
Do you hear air to me voice? Oh, that's good, yeah. So you also can watch, we can check, right, and play before it starts.
Hey, you people that sit around, don't crowd.
No, we can jump.
It's very hot. What's this?
Like my phone.
Can we put it over there?
I need time for you.
Huh?
I need time for you.
Huh?
Hi, I can hear you.
I'd like to say hi.
I haven't shown yet the cam.
Yeah, turn it on.
On the cam. Yeah.
Somehow off.
Sign-in code. What sign-in code is this?
So?
Do we need that? Please write down. Okay, never mind. It's just we write it down first. I think this one is for the participants. I'm not sure. Hello, good morning, Jimmy.
Oh, so that's the problem.
Hi, Jimmy. Can you hear me loud and clear? Hi, Jimmy. Can you hear me?
Is it? But just I want CPU.
Hi, Jimmy. Can you hear me?
Ask me to choose which one. I just tembak on it. You're stupid one, I tell you.
You know they can hear you, right?
Who cares?
Wow, she's so bright, huh?
Architect.
Hello. Jimmy, are you there? Hi, Jimmy. Can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear. Very
All
loud.
right, great. So later I will
Can you hear me?
introduce. I can hear you loud and clear. So later I will introduce. No, it's fine. I will introduce you first, and then I'll prompt you to actually start the talk. Okay, and you have got 1 hour.
Should be that.
Huh?
You can lower down your volume if it's too loud.
Lower down.
Not yet.
They say, am I too dark? Or, am I too dark?
No, that's fine.
It's disconnected just now.
No?
Internet is unstable.
In the internet is unstable. Why are we using Wi-Fi?
Wailing Gallery's Wi-Fi is not so good. is
Okay,
it?
so I don't know. So then use my hotspot lah. Use mine, no? So we cannot hear each other, is it?
Can't
I can hear you. I can hear you.
You can
I
hear
can
me,
hear
huh?
you.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's on, the internet is on.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's still on.
Okay.
It's
So
just
what are
that
we
if
supposed to do?
so I will first introduce you, and then you will have 1 hour for your sharing session, and then the last 30 minutes will be for Q&A. Right? So I think Howie will prompt you in terms of the timing.
Yeah. How ye? Okay. She didn't bring her watch.
So I will prompt her, don't worry. She have her phone.
Okay.
It's on.
But yeah. So you think there'll be a lot of questions? 30 minutes.
I would think there will be questions. I already have pre-prepared some questions for you as well.
Okay.
Okay, so I think now we are waiting to, I think Gary's Pixel will tell us when to start. It's already 11:06 though.
Yeah, that's okay. Chubby chicks. Where's chubby chicks? Huh?
You have a lot of young people there now around you.
Can you see them?
I
No, we
can't.
can't.
I can see them like just now a little bit. I can hear them.
Oh. No, actually, this place that I'm in,
Okay. All right. Connected to your.
is this on now?
It's using your hotspot.
Using mine, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, better lah. Okay. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yep.
I said that this place I'm in is a little bit haunted.
Oh my God. Okay.
Oh, that's why you see a lot of things moving around, you know?
Oh my God. I don't think so.
Huh? That's okay. But it's a good story.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear both of your what?
Yeah, actually they can hear us.
Both of you. Both of
Are we starting now?
You went to
Huh?
we ask and ask them to queue when they are. No,
Oh my goodness. You came.
when we supposed to share the slide over. Who is our
Live.
Are we starting now or what?
Are we starting now?
I have not gotten any prompt. Yes, can you give us some time? Ming Xiu, we are starting soon.
真的上，看这个是。Okay.
okay?
All right. I think let's get started.
All the best, Prof.
Yeah.
All right.
I hope you're okay.
Okay, so I've gotten a prompt that we can start now. So let's get started. A very good morning to everyone here, especially to our guest speaker, Professor Architect Dr. Jimmy Lim. And welcome to the CPD Unlimited session titled Be Tough and Fight Your Rights. And today this session is premised on a reflective and speculative take on architecture education. And this session has been carefully curated by the Malaysian Architecture Student Alliance, known fondly to many of us as MASA. And my name is Dr. Veronica Ng from Taylor's University, and I'll be the moderator for this session. So how the format of the presentation will work is for the first 1 hour, Architect Jimmy Lim will be sharing his session on Be Tough and Fight Your Rights. And subsequently, the later half an hour, the audience will have the opportunity
Bring
to
the
actually
light
ask
closer.
ask questions. So as we go through the session, you could actually drop your questions on into the Dropbox. Yeah. So first of all, let me introduce architect Jimmy. Architect Jimmy Lim is a Malaysian architect trained at the University of New South Wales. He was the senior architect and then an associate of the firm Project Architects Sendirian Berhad in Kuala Lumpur from 1972 to 1977
Actually,
and
maybe that
established
one
his
should also
own
be.
practice, CSL Associates, in 1978. More recently, in 2019, architect Jimmy Lim was awarded the PAM 2019 Gold Medalist. One of his renowned projects, the Salinger House, is also awarded the Aga Khan Award for Excellence in 1998. This too marks the distinguished awards and recognition for architect Jimmy towards the fraternity of architecture. So without further ado, let's invite architect Jimmy to present his session titled Be Tough and Fight for Your Rights. So the floor is over to you, architect Jimmy.
So can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
I'm
You
on.
can just,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. Good morning, fellow architects and ladies and gentlemen. I'm very pleased to be here to talk to you about be tough and fight for your rights. Now, actually, I'm not tough, neither do I fight all the time. But what I'm saying is, in life, you must appear to be tough. Oh, and if you're born under the star of Cancer, Cancer is a crab. The crab gives you a very formidable outside, but the inside of the crab is very soft. For those of you who have eaten crabs before, so I was born under Cancer, so you look tough inside, but you're actually very sensitive inside. You got to fight for your rights. You got to stand for what you believe in. Nobody is going to support you unless you're able to prove your case. Now, so today I'm going to talk about architecture with particular reference with architectural education. By the Malaysian architectural professional standard, I think I qualify to be a Jurassic, from the Jurassic age. When I started my practice, very few of the members were probably even born yet. And when I graduated, I think hardly any of them were even born, and some of their parents were not even born. So that sets me back many years. Okay, now I can only compare what is happening with the architectural profession today with what it was when I was a student and training and when I first came back to Malaysia. You know, see, and the way the architectural profession today seems to me to lack what it is that takes to make an architect. First of all, the way the degree that's given out to students seems to be watered down. When we were going through architecture, we had to complete full 5 years before you get a bachelor's degree of architecture. And with that degree, you are equivalent to part 2, which means you can sit for your professional practice exam. Why is this on an automatic timer? Is it pen controlling it or something?
No, it's not.
Can we reset it? So, but today, when you get 3 years, you are given a degree, some sort of an architectural degree, and everybody have the notion that, oh, now I've got a degree, 3 years in architecture, I am equivalent to an architect and I can start doing architectural work. Now that is actually not the case. but this is not carefully monitored, administered, or enforced by either PAM or LAM. So as a result, there's a misconceived notion among students that the moment they get the 3 years degree, they are as good as being an architect. Now, if the role of Lembaga, as what I said, is to protect the public, right? Now, protecting the public means you must make sure people with a 3-year degree cannot go around passing themselves as an architect. Now, I'm not against the students. I think the students are innocent. They are just a victim to a situation. So this is what we got to look at. Then after that, they go for 2 years and they get a master's degree. With a master's degree, they can then qualify to sit for the professional part 3 exam. The master's becomes the equivalent of part 2 RIBA equivalent. Right? So I think, this sort of anomalies created a lot of confusion. I mean, people like us who are in the profession, we understand this, but people outside don't. So as a result of this, the architectural profession has developed a bad reputation because a lot of people who are not architects are passing themselves off as architects. I'm not saying that the word architect must be protected, but the quality of work produced by so-called architects must be commensurate to what is good professional practice. All right? And yet, the Lembaga makes a point that to use the term architect, you must be qualified. That's about it, qualified, but you don't control it. You let people just go ahead and do whatever you like. And I think this is where it's wrong. Okay, so that's to sort out my view on why I think a profession needs to look at itself. Okay, now let's look at the educational side. Now, formal architectural education started in 1920s with the Bauhaus in Germany, started by Walter Gropius. And of course, at that time, the British, the RIBA, were following about the same role model. All right. So from 1920s on, now we're 2021, 100 years. Bauhaus have already celebrated 100 years of existence of architectural training. Now, in the 50s, at the point of Malaysia getting our independence in 1957, we had the Kuala Lumpur Technical College at Gurney Road, and they had a technician course for architectural draftsmen and architects of sorts. All right. So we have kind of architectural education in Malaysia in the 1950s. But at that time, we still did not have any universities. Now, in 1972, with the amended Architects Act, after that, a lot of formal schools of architecture started to sprout forth, different universities, right? And started to offer architectural courses. Now, when all these universities started sprouting out, they were guided and they followed the rules set up by the RIBA, the Commonwealth Architects Association Education Accreditation Committee. That means before any school can be accredited, given the right to call himself an architectural school, your syllabus and standard of education must comply with the British RIBA that was common for the whole Commonwealth around the world. That means Australia, New Zealand, India, Singapore, Hong Kong, Brunei, all South Africa, a lot of the British colonies in the African continent, Bahamas, Jamaica, and all that, right? And Malaya. But since then, we have come up with our own accreditation with more universities coming up. So with all this, there are quite a lot of problems that have come about. Now, up to 1972 and thereafter, all our graduates were educated overseas, in UK or in Australia, the two most popular places, and New Zealand. Now, when any of the students from New Zealand or Australia have graduated, they will sit for the professional practice exam in Australia and New Zealand. Then they become associated of the Royal Australian Institute of Architects or the associate of the New Zealand Institute of Architects. Now, you get an Australian degree, you get a New Zealand degree, you've got your associate membership, you cannot register in Malaysia with the Lembaga Architect Malaysia. Lembaga Architect Malaysia at that time only recognized associateship with the RIBA, that is the Royal Institute of British Architects. So the Australian graduates and the New Zealand graduates or Canadian, they then have to apply to be members of the RIBA to become an associate of the RIBA. So you got your ARAIA from Australia, you apply to be an ARIBA of British. Then after you got your ARIBA, you can then register with the Lembaga Architect Malaysia. Now, the moment you become an ARAIA in those days, you automatically assume another title, which they call Chartered Architect. So this is why if you see a lot of old architects, they always have on their name, Chartered Architect. Chartered means they are a member of RIBA, and RIBA was chartered by the Royal Charter. The Queen or have signed that if you are a member of the RIBA, which is a Royal Institute one, then you are a chartered. Okay, so that's why. So in those days, every architect wanted to be a chartered architect. Then of course, surveyors want to be chartered, engineers want to be chartered, everybody wants to be chartered. But lucky now, nobody wants to be a chartered. Now everybody wants to be Dato. Never mind. Okay, so that's what it is. Now, so after 1972, Pam and Lam started to work towards a lot of things. A lot of things were happening. We were controlling the development of school, maintaining the standards and what have you. But then from what I've observed as having been a president of PAM before, I noticed that the standard of education has gone down tremendously. And I'm concerned at the level of the professional practice exams. I used to be an examiner very often in those days. And I used to be an examiner in Sarawak and Sabah. But now I notice that quite a lot of the standards are quite different. But whatever it is, the institute and the profession and the board is being run by different people, and they have different mindsets. So standards fluctuates. Some people got high standard, some people got even higher standard there. So when they are there, all standards start to fluctuate. So are you there or are you here, whichever you are? So that's where we are today. And because of this, the architectural education is affected. Now, I've had a lot of dealings with students, and I find that a lot of students, whenever they apply for internship or to work as a recent graduate, what's the first thing they say? Oh, I love to design. I'm a designer. I want to design. I want to be in your design team. I can contribute towards your design. Oh, you know, this whole emphasis, the overall emphasis of design. I said, yeah, great. Can you design me a cube, 25 mm by 25 mm by 25 mm? Can you design that? Yeah, I can do that. They all say, great. So they draw, they design. I say, great, 25 mm, fine. Now design me one cube that's 2.5 meter by 2.5 meter by 2.5 meter. That's when they give me that shock look. Oh, I say, okay. So they try. After about 1 hour, they say, yeah, something like this. I said, what's this you're putting? Oh, I put some material that can cover the side, 2.5 meter. I said, what's going to support the thing that's over 2.5 meter? Oh, no, don't know. I said, okay, now the final test. Design me a cube that's 25 meter by 25 meter by 25 meter. How do you do it? That's when they look at you, and I think some of them almost feel like they want to cry. Why? Because they've got no clue. How are you going to build something that's 25 meter high? That's about 8 stories. 25 meter wide, 25 meter deep. They can't. They can only draw a pretty picture. Oh, I want it like that. I just set back. I got holes here. I got like that there. I got like that. Cantilever here, cantilever there. How do you build it? Oh, no idea. So I asked them, did you guys study structures? Do they teach you construction, how to join pieces together? Uh-uh. So what do they teach you? Everything. Oh, everything. Now, this worries me. It's not the fault of the kids. Neither is it the fault of the university. What is the Lam and Pam Education Committee doing about this? How are you ensuring the profession maintain its high standard? How do you ensure that we maintain our position within the global context, within Acacia, within UIA, that our standard of architecture is as high as those at UIA? We've had a president, Malaysian president of UIA, but is our architectural standard commensurate with the UIA standard? Now, I think this is very important. No, I've been very critical. I know some people are going to get very upset with me, but thank goodness they can't haul me up into Lam, for whatever reason they are, or maybe conduct that's unbecoming. I've gone through that, so I know all about it. So I think this is where the issue is. How do we arrest the declining standard of architectural education? Or are we going to go down the same route as English in the Malaysian education system, where we say, Egypt that we go to, I want an egg o'clock. Is that the level of English? When you can't tell the difference between egg and eight, and eight, I want an egg and eight. Come on. Please, we must get ourselves up to a level. You want an egg? Okay. You want your egg at 8 o'clock? And at 8 o'clock or by 8:30, you will have eaten your egg. All right, you got to be clear. So architecture got to be very specific. It's not all about bullshit. Oh, lovely icons. I think this is where we got to cut the chase and really arrest the decline. Our architectural standard used to be very, very high. But I'm sad to say, we are scraping the bottom of the barrel. Architects at the moment today are nothing more than office pume for the local authorities. Oh, give me that borang. That borang has not been filled in. Chase this thing, chase that thing. Have you got approval? Have you got approval for that? It's just running from government department and to the other department. What is that? Is that what the lembaga is practicing, is causing us to do? Now, the lembaga got to restore the respect of the profession. The profession, PAM, have to get us to be more respected. The architect is no longer the leader of the building industry, right? Why? Because we do not know enough about the profession. We've got developers telling architects what to do. And all the architects talk about is, I do design. I do design. Hey, clients are not interested in your design, right? They are not interested in your philosophy of design. They are not interested in your iconic values and all that. What they are interested is in the ROI. What's ROI? The return on investment. That means if they are going to put in a certain amount of money into their project, they want to know what's the return they'll get after 5 years or 3 years. It's like if they put their money into a bank, what sort of interest do they get from the bank after 5 years? So what your design must do is able to at least show to them that your return, the return on your design is 10 times more than that of the bank. Now, when you say that your return on their investment is 10 times, oh, these guys get excited. Oh, they get all excited, you know. So when they get excited, then you say, okay, are you interested? So do you accept the design? So when they accept the design, that's when you say, good, we have a project, we go ahead. So you look after the money side, we will look after the design. You leave the design to us as long as we come up with this proposal that gives you ROI of 10 times what you will get from the bank. That's it. So he's happy, you're happy. Tell you, you don't interfere. You don't. The moment you interfere, you're not going to get the 10 times return. Okay? So I think this is what we got to think about. And also I believe recently, Lembaga have stopped recognizing a lot of architectural schools, except for a few, and that they have come up with their own standard. Now, I am not saying that that's necessarily bad, but I don't know why they decide to do that. Maybe the people in Lembaga want more power, more control. Like all government departments, they always want to have a lot of control. And in the whole process, they lose sight of the objective of maintaining high standard and doing things the right way. All right. So I think I'll be watching out very, very carefully at how the next batch of students that are going to be coming up from various universities. Because whilst our students are very, very good, don't get it wrong, our students are very good, very talented, but they're all being taught wrongly. Recently, I was as one of the jury member judging the students' award for PAM, and I noticed that all the drawings had beautiful technique, they had beautiful sketches, but they're all out of context. They're all out of our Malaysian environment, and it's totally irrelevant. As a senior member of the architectural profession, I am very, very worried. Why are we teaching our students when they are designing to forget that it rains in the tropics, that we have sun out here? Huh? They design open decks for people to sit there and read their books. How many of you would want to go and sit out there at 12 o'clock to read a book in the sun or to have your nasi lemak out in the sun at 12 noon. If you do that, people think that you have gone karang kabut, your head, something's gone mad inside. But then in the Western concept, having open field for people to go there, have their lunch and soaking in the sun is fantastic because it's so bloody cold. But here in the tropics, you need the sun to warm you up. Your otak will kena goreng. That's what will happen. Yeah. So I think we got to get ourselves correct and understand the whole problem. Now let's come back to the Bauhaus. Bauhaus until today is 100 years. When our Kuala Lumpur Technical College was in existence in the 1950s, it's only about 30 years after the setting up of the Bauhaus. Okay, but to now, since the Technical College until today is 70 years. Now the question is, has architectural education, the method of teaching, the contents of architectural education in Malaysia has been changed to reflect the what do you call to reflect the current situation. This is moving. All right. So this is where I'm addressing this question to the Education Committee in Lembaga and Education Committee in PAM. Are you guys starting to look at architectural education that's relevant to the Malaysian situation, the Wawasan 2020? Now, you know, Wawasan 2020 started by Tun Dr. Ismail when he was Prime Minister. So during that period, approaching 2020, Wawasan 2020, the Lembaga or PAM set themselves a program that by 2020, our architectural education should have gone through a certain paradigm shift. Have they done that? I don't think they have. If anything, what they've done is they've dismantled the scaffolding of architectural education from this height downwards. When architectural education used to be 10 stories, now it is about 6.5 stories high. So if in 2021 you're 6.5 stories, by 2025, are you going to be down at 3.5 stories high? Now, this is something which Lembaga and Pertubuhan Architect must look at it. This is a real issue. And this is what I'm speaking as a past president of PAM. And if any of you would want to look at some of the things I've written in the Majalah Architect, in the Berita Architect, back in 1991, 92, 93, a lot of these issues I have already mentioned. None of the things that I've written 30 years ago have been followed through. No one had even looked at it. And this, I think, is a real problem. Now, you say, we were accredited by RIBA. That's great. RIBA were our crutches. So we are limp. We cannot walk. So we use the RIBA as crutches. But today, are we still saying that we cannot walk? We want to build something. So where are our own standard, our own scaffolding, our own structure of architecture for us to maintain our high standard? We don't have that. And this is what it is. And this is why private universities, government universities, I think you guys got to do something. You got to have a concerted effort. Now, for example, does all the universities get together on an annual basis to discuss all issues relating to the teaching of architecture, so that you have a combined institute of higher learning, combined architectural schools to discuss issues? Is that such a program? I've never heard of one organized Lembaga or one organized PAM. Any of you heard of it? I'm sure you have not. And I don't think these guys even bother. Subscription time, pay. You don't pay a subscription, your name not in there. That's it. So that's an annual thing. They pay subscription. 31st of December, subscription time. Baya. You don't pay by that, or you try to register, or in February they can't register. This March they can't. Only in April they register. Then they give your registration April. That's our system. I'm sad to say I'm very critical. That's why I'm speaking out. You don't expect the students to speak up. You don't expect the lecturers in the universities to speak up. Yeah? I mean, most people are not suicidal. Okay, we are not suicidal. Only politicians are suicidal. They take chances with COVID-19. No need quarantine 3 days, okay. So, today, how do we accredit our schools? How does all the schools, government schools of architecture, private schools of architecture, ascertain and maintain a high standard? Or you scratch my back, I scratch your back, so we both go and have data rate. No need to worry about standard law. Our students' drawings are very pretty. Oh, that's okay. You ask some of these graduates who come to me, I say, what's your FFL? Huh? I say, FFL. I don't know. Oh, you don't know what's FFL? What's the RL of your natural ground? Oh, don't know. Yeah, simple thing. I know. I say, so what are grid lines? Do you use grid lines for your structure? No, we never. I said, do you know in architecture, in preparing drawings, your grid lines and your FFLs are like a girl wearing bra and panty. You see, you must have bra, you must have panty. Otherwise, how can you go up? So you got no FFL, you know, got no grid lines. How can you do any working drawings? But never mind. We are designers. We design buildings in Mars. We're going to design all this space station and Mars. No requirements. Anything goes. You can't do that. Okay? So this is where we have to change our mindset. So now, why I'm saying all this? Because I've gone through it. I have seen it all, right? So I apologize to the students who are listening to me and getting a little bit confused. See, I'm speaking with a lot of experience. Why you got to be tough? You know, my whole life, I've been getting into trouble. First, I get into trouble with Lam, and then Pam, then I get trouble into Lam. No, I did not get into trouble with them. They look for me. They want to trouble me, you see. So, okay, that's fine. So you trouble me, okay lah. And then like politicians also come and trouble me, right? Because I say things they don't like, no? But never mind, that's story of life. So now I've given you what I think about education system. Now I will give you a little bit of story about my life, you know, so that you guys can say, I say this Jimmy Lim, he's a real joker. He joke all the time. So one of these days, he may joke on his own joke. Okay, so I hope some of you are laughing. Now, in 1960, wow, 1960, so long ago. That is 61 years ago. First stage of globalization, right? My mother sent me off from Penang. I was from Penang. I don't know about you all. So Penang, we are all Hokkien lang. So I left Penang in December 1959. Went to Singapore. And then in Singapore, I went on the ship on the 4th of January 1960. Went all the way to Sydney. So you can see the picture here, the ship that I went on, the menu, P&O menu, you know. Every time you have your makan, They have the menu, all printed, all this picture. Then you see the picture in the middle, that's the school I went to. And then you can see the ship sailing under the Sydney Harbour Bridge. That's where my introduction to Sydney. Then there's a school, college. Then the man in the white long gown, that was a headmaster of my school, a Reverend Brother Damien. He was a very fierce teacher, very frightening. Then the picture, black and white picture on the right hand side, I don't know if you all can see, is me standing in front of the college in the background. So can you all see me or not? Very young. No. So you all come and have a see. That's me, very young that time, 15 years old. More good looking than you all.
Very handsome. Oh.
Okay, yeah. That's a college in the background, this college in this building. Okay. So you see this college, okay? This building is this building. Yeah. Okay. All right. So after studying in Australia, Sydney, I left Sydney. I came back to Sydney. I came back to Malaysia in 1972. But when I was in Sydney, well, I used to get involved in street protests. When Utzon resigned as architect for the Sydney Opera House, you see, this is, where's say this on Utzon, he resigned as a architect for Sydney. All the students, we went protest. We protested. So that's mere protest, gathering the science in charge. Oh, terror, those days. Then these are all my professors. This Professor George Molnar, and there's Jon Utzon. Their students were all protesting at the Sydney Opera House. And this is Neville Grossman. And this is Peter Collar, another lecturer from University of New South Wales. And this guy here was Bruce Ricard. He was a disciple of Frank Lloyd Wright. He went to study under Frank Lloyd Wright at the Taliesin. So these are all very formidable teachers. And interesting enough, all George Molnar, Collar, and Grossman, they're all Jews. Only this Bruce Ricard is a real Australian. Now, you see, this building here is a building designed by Bruce Ricard. Very Frank Lloyd Wright sort of thing, but it has a very strong Australian impact. Okay. Then a few years, I cannot remember what year it was, I was invited by MasterCard to appear in their advertisement. Okay. So because they wanted to show certain people who are sort of like they are master in their craft. So I advertised my craft, architecture, and then I appeared in this ad. There was a video of it, and this ad. This appeared internationally. Then, of course, at that time, the Singapore Institute of Architects president at that time was Tay Keng Soon, my good friend. They wrote to Lembaga and to Pam to complain. Said Jimmy Lim, calling himself master architect, has described himself in a superlative manner and advertising. So of course, Lembaga immediately at that time was Kington Lua. First thing they wrote me, you have been charged for advertising. So, I mean, you look at this, how did I advertise myself? Did I say anything about I am a good architect? or anything. All it says is that, you know, MasterCard means never losing touch with your culture and roots and your whatever it is. So the Board of Architects charged me for advertising. Then before my hearing, they changed the advertising to another section of the act that says conduct, which in the opinion of the Lembaga is disgraceful or unbecoming. Wow, disgraceful, unbecoming. What does that mean? What is unbecoming? What's disgraceful? If after you have a good meal, you go, oh, no, that's unbecoming. Or else, if after you have a good meal, after you've done that, then you fart, you know. Now, that would be quite disgraceful, you know, and especially if your fart is smelly and you find the people around, they all have to run away. I mean, I never did any of that. So how can the board, but never mind, Lembaga went through, they found me guilty, and then they, 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 they then fined me. I think they fined me 5,000 ringgit. This was in 1982. I think before most of you are born, correct or not? Yeah, 82. Maybe your parents are also born. So that was it. Never mind. Things like that happen. So you survive, you carry on. But it never stopped me from being an architect. So I just want to prove to those people who tried to kill me then that I am good, I am still going strong, and I will still be around. It's just like this monorail thing. You people know anything about the monorail? Okay? At one stage, so, you know, you talk about PAM. PAM, we had the information committee. One day, at that time, the chairman of the information committee was Ruslan Khalid, and he got everybody together. I was the deputy chairman. So we got together, we all talk about the monorail coming to KL. Wow, this was 1979, 78 or something like that, long time ago. So we were all very worried that it's going to disturb the environment. So we had a big meeting in PAM. Everyone was there. I tell you who was there. Camille Marikan was there also at the meeting. Ken Young was there. David Tay, Lee Kong Leng, Chan Chi Yung, Fei Chia was there. Everybody was there. Anybody who meant anything. So we all there. We opposed. So the following week, the supplier for monorail came to meet the what they call Dato Banda. So the newspaper called up Pam, and Ruslan Khalid at that time had gone off on his holiday to Tibet. You know, Ruslan Khalid is a very Anglophile Malay. He spent so many years in UK that he has to go back to London every Christmas to celebrate Christmas, you know. I don't know what he does, but great guy. So Ruslan was away, so I had to talk to the newspaper. So they talked to me, I gave them all the spiel, what we discussed at the PAM meeting and all that. So the next day, the newspaper spreading across 2 pages, they say, monorail, white elephant, Jimmy Lim, PAM spokesman. Wow, one whole page, 2 pages. And that got Dato Banda, Elias Omar, very angry. He called out Pam, he scolded everybody, scolded Raja Dure. Of course, you know Raja Dure, the moment you scold him, he gets a bit scared, you know. Suk Yong, you know. So they all got together. So all the past presidents got together, had a meeting. And this is PAM, you know. This is our institute, Pertubuhan Architect Malaysia. At that time, the president of PAM was Ken Young. So all the presidents came together and had a meeting. They never asked Jimmy Lim to come say, Jimmy, why did you say this? No, Jimmy Lim not invited. This is a PAM matter. So only PAM president can make decision, you know, very Malaysian, very, very transparent. Today we are also like that, transparent. So they all had meeting. Then after the meeting, about 2 hours, Raja Dure came running out of the door. I said, hey, Raja, what's up? Cannot talk, Jimmy. Must go to the newspaper. Wow, I said, wow, what the hell is he doing? Wow, I found out. Next day, newspaper open up, big advertisement. Pam wishes to apologize to Dr. Elias Omar, Mayor Dato Bandar for white elephant in the newspaper. That's a statement, apology. Jimmy Lim Chok Siam, council member of PAM, although council member was speaking on his own behalf and not on behalf of PAM. Wow, when I read it, I said, wow, Kao Pero. Sure to see, man. Then, of course, after I say CNN, you know, wow. With friends like that, you know, your profession hanging you out to dry. This was all under the old guards, right? And I tell you, when you talk about PAM politics, one day I'll write a story about PAM and let you people know how good PAM is, how great it's been. Okay, so never mind. So they put in there, hang it, oh, he did this on his own. So read in between the lines, say, Dato Bandar, you want to kill anybody, you please kill Jimmy Lim. Yeah, he is a member of PAM, but never mind, you can kill him. Right? That's the way we are. So that is why from that time on, I didn't die. I continued. I went on, carry on in PAM. That's why when I wanted to become president of PAM at that time, when I got elected to be president, you know, they send people to come and say, hey, don't stand up now. Wow, you don't mind, set aside. And all. This is PAM for you. I tell you, the politics in PAM is no different from the politics that's in the government. Okay, but never mind, that's history. I'm still here. I'm still laughing and enjoy myself. Good luck to you. Then, when I was in Penang, right, you know, that Mr. DAP, Bill Crimboy, when he took over Penang, he very clever, you know, he got hold of all the people in Penang, the NGO, invited them to the 26th floor, to 26th floor in Komta to what do you call, to see the to meet him, and he gave them tea. So at the meeting, he told the NGO, the Penang Forum people and all that, wow, anytime you got any issue, you all call me up, here my phone number. So that's why after that, the Penang Forum, nobody protests about anything in Penang. That's until I got involved with some friends, and that really got them very upset. So at the meeting, when they're saying, oh, no, we have direct access to the chief minister and all. So I asked them a question. How many times have you people called him on his handphone to tell him about the problems in Penang? None. I said, so what's the use of his handphone if you don't call him up, right? It doesn't make any sense. So we form a group in Penang called the Penang Citizens Awareness Chant Group. So it's called by chant, C-H-A-N-T. So a lot of people thought, oh, wow, you form a religious group, Pai San one. Why chant what? Chant is like, you know, saying prayer all the time. I say, yeah. We are not an action group. We no action. We no protest. We only chant. Oh, why? When you go to temple, you go chant. Lama Li Tawfut, Lama Li Tawfut, make me rich, make me this. And God ever answer your prayer, no? To say, yeah, here you're good. Never. You chant, nothing happens. So you talk to politicians the same. You chant, nothing happens. That's why it's called chant group. Okay, so you see, in Penang, we got this hill here. You see, in Penang, when you come over the bridge, behind USM on the hill here. This is called the Botak Hill of Penang, right? And from the air, this is what the Botak Hill looks like. Yeah. So we had a press conference. We said, you must not chop the thing lah, and all that. Wow, the Bill Clinton boy of Komta, he saw the newspaper, got so angry. He sued me. He sued me and the newspaper. And he sued me for 300,000 ringgit. Oh. He think I very rich. 300,000, you know. Yeah, he sued a small-time architect like me, you know. I tell you. But never mind. So I fought him. Wow, but lucky, you see all these lawyers, all these lawyers here, all gave me free legal service, you know, because they are all very concerned citizens. I don't know them at all. Suddenly, all these people come. So that's why in life, you remember one thing. Do what you believe is right. Believe in yourself. Don't let other people influence you. And you know something? I'm not a religious person, but I know God is looking after me. Whatever I do, God is helping me. Always have faith in God. In life, 4 things. Everything is preordained. If things are meant to be for you, it will be for you. Anything that happens will happen at the right time. And finally, learn to let go of what has happened and move on. These are 4 principles in life you want to learn about. And that's it. Money you cannot take. Satisfaction, knowing that you have done what you believe in, the passion of what it is. That's what's important. That's what life's about. Don't worry about the money. You think you can get a single cent with you when you close your eyes? You can't. But if when you think back at all the things you've done, all the people whose hearts you have touched, you know something? This. It will give you a face, a smile on your face. And then you say, goodbye world, goodbye. Okay, so this finish, is it? Okay, so that's more or less what it's all about. So what do we have next? Oh,
Hi, Jimmy. Are
yes.
you finished with your presentation?
No, well, no, I got a couple more little slides. No. Now, okay, can I continue?
Maybe 2 more minutes.
Yeah, 2 more
Maybe
minutes.
for you to conclude nicely.
Yeah, nicely. So important thing in life, you must set yourself certain objective. Now, I have always worked on the basis that we must break through the invisible intellectual ceiling. And I call this the IIC. So in this chart, you see the chart on the left, which chart the various milestones in my career, starting from 1970 until 2020 or more or less. Right? At every stage, there is a milestone of a different project that takes me to a different direction. Right? And each of them are taking me up higher and higher in the level of attainment. Right? So this one on the left was prepared up to 2018. Now, since 2018, you go to the left side, there I've got this one I call forward and upwards. You see, we've got this red arrow that's sticking out. And here I am now moving forward with a whole new team of very good, dedicated, and passionate young architects. Now, there are a lot of them, but they are not easy to find. But if you find them, you got to work on them like you work on a rough rock. You got to hack away all the rough edges, hack it away, then you got to polish it. You may have to use a chisel and knock a few things off, and you may have to burn it and grind it until you shine that rock into a gem. So now, so that's very important. So my concluding words is, today, current Malaysian architectural education, as I said, no one. The whole education is all too academic rather than knowledge acquisition. It is there. Just they all want to get a piece of paper lah. I got diploma. I got square box. You know, head. I take picture like that. I smile. That's all. That's all. It's nothing about what goes on inside your head. Nothing inside. Never mind. I got picture. Okay. I got 11A. I got nothing inside. And students lack individuality. All students like to herd together. Ni cakap我cakap kita semua kita pergi tandas, kita ikut kita semua pergi tandas. Satu kali 6 orang pergi tandas, itu macam tandas semua ada traffic jam. Right? So you cannot have that. Right? Students must be there to fight to be great. I want to be the best. Not I piggyback right on her. Oh, because she got nice bag, you know. No, that's got to change that. Then I think the ability to transfer knowledge to students becomes very questionable. Because very often I ask students certain questions. They give me the fantastic, so what happened to the knowledge that went into them? Like water of duck speck. Fourth point, there is a real need in addressing for teachers to address the needs of the student when they ask questions. They ask something, but students go to universities and then they are told to, you Google lah, it's all in the Google. Go Google and then you Google yourself. Oh. So why go to university? Might as well go and learn from practice, hands-on. And then there are some very strange subjects being taught, like social interaction, certain social affiliation courses, subject matters and all that. Now, what the hell? Teach the student how to connect two pieces of wood together. How do they lay bricks? How's the, you ask students, what's the size? They don't know. What's the size? Like that lah, about like that lah. What's the dimension? What's the mixture for cement mortar? Mix lah, cement and water lah. No need sand lah. Oh, sand lah. Also can lah. What about lime? Lime lah. You want lah? Oh, okay lah, lime lah. So how much water you put? Oh, little bit lah. Where is knowledge? No knowledge at all. Absolutely. You want to do brickwork? How many types of bonds are there? Huh? How many courses? What type of courses? What sort of bonding? No such knowledge. So that's why teach all these nonsensical subjects. And very important, all the courses needs to be changed. Your method of education is all wrong. Change, learn, get together and discuss if you can. But if your mindset is already locked in, how to discuss, already cast in concrete, then throw all the concrete brains in and bring some new brains. I'm quite happy to join because my brain is very flexible. In fact, I've got no brains at all. They're flexible, like that also can, like that also can. So it's always up for grabs. Right? So what is architecture only about design, which all schools are teaching? Only design, pretty drawings, pretty presentation, nothing about real issues. These are my big concerns. Right? And because of all the above, the holistic major misconception about the role and purpose of the profession has become so apparent in society that people are now no longer look towards the architects as a leader in the industry. Okay, well, I hope I have upset all of you and ruined your weekend. It's a good start for the new year. Yesterday was Chap Gourmet. Now move forward. Let's change the world. Okay, thank you. Over to you, Veronica.
Thank you, Architect Jimmy. I can hear the echoes of students laughing at the back of you, and that suggests to me that they are having a blast. So thank you very much for your very critical piece of sharing. And I think the title or the subheading of Mirror, Mirror on the Wall is actually very apt, where you have prompted all of us to actually reflect, unlearn, and also to relearn. You have also raised very pertinent issues on architecture education, not only in itself, but towards its broader societal, political, economical context. And I think in good faith, you have alerted an important point, which is bringing respect to the profession and being visible and positioning ourselves within the larger global Asian as well as UIA context. So we are open for the Q&A session, and we have actually got some time left for that. So I will share the first comment and question from Dr. Sucharita Srirangam. So I will just read out the comment and the question. Yeah. Thanks for the wonderful sharing, Architect Jimmy Lim. Great on the 4 advisors as well. One question is, what you envisage for the future of architectural education and the academics in the context of seeding responsible individuals in the ever-challenging world? So that will be the question.
Oh, so I answer now?
Yes, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, you see, did he use the word receding?
Seeding,
no,
in the context of
seeding.
seeding.
Okay.
Yes.
You see, yeah. Why has the architect's role and position shrunk and diminished? It's because, like, if you are a person painter who's painting a wall, you paint and paint and paint the wall, you forget where the door out of that room. You start painting from the door because that's where you came in. And then by the time you paint, you find that you are in a corner of a wall of the room, and the door is on the other side of the room, and you cannot go out unless you step all over the floor that you have painted and damage all that you've done. The architectural profession is in that same situation, right? And it is about time architects get your own head out of the ground and see the world. In the old days, with the RIBA system, is, oh, we are the learned gentlemen. We see the whole world. We know what's going on. So from on top of the obelisk, we can see the whole world around us. Everything looks very nice, but you're so far removed from everything, right? So today, we are also in a similar position, but not up on the obelisk. We are underground. Oh, everything's nice and cozy. Di bawah tempurung, seronok loh. Everything is very, tak sejuk, tak ada hujan, angin tak kuat. So everything. So you are in your comfort zone. Architecture is nothing to do about comfort zone. It's all the time about breaking and challenging your IIC, your invisible intellectual ceiling. Well, the problem is, with the way we are training a lot of our students, they have got no bloody ceilings at all. They're all over the place. It's like, hey, give them a lot of water, but they got no container. So where's the water? Well, it's not everywhere. That's what's happening. Now, seriously, the whole architectural system, training of the architectural program needs to go through a complete revamp. You got to start teaching your architects history. None of the architectural students today know anything about Malaysian history. Okay lah, never mind Malaysian, no history. Talk about world history lah. Okay, start naming the historical period of the world. Oh, you got Roman architecture, you got Byzantine architecture, you got Baroque architecture. Hey, can you give it to me in sequence, proper sequence? Modern architecture, Gothic architecture, all this bullshit, I said, how many orders are there in Roman architecture? Huh? What is the order? Huh? How many orders are there in Greek architecture? Huh? 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 Yeah, all these things. So you are not learned in history. So how do you know? How can you talk about today was yesterday's tomorrow, as today will be tomorrow's yesterday? How do you do that? Continuity. We've got no continuity in this country because we are all morons. We all try to be politicians. Every one of us try to be a dato. Every one of us want to be a Tan Sri, right? But no. So teach history. You got to teach construction. How are you going to put two pieces of wood together? Put a bit, stick together, saliva, is it? Or what? Structures. Do they know any structures? Once I asked a graduate, I don't know whether it was from one of your type of schools or not. I said, can you describe a cantilever structure in a female anatomy? And you know what the guy said? Oh, scrotum. I mean, right? And how does a scrotum become a female anatomy? And how is that cantilever? I mean, that beats me, I mean, so things like that. So there's so many things. Building materials. You see, talk about compatibility of paint. You talk about materials, talk about building trades, and all that. Today, architects just don't know anything. So much so that people think that architects are interior designers. So there has to be a paradigm shift. And I'll be very, very happy to get involved because in 1999, I prepared a paper for a seminar at the University of Minnesota, University of Minnesota in Minneapolis, where they discuss about education. And that paper, I think, is now 21 years old. But I think it's time we can implement that. Okay?
All
I
right,
hope I've
thank
answered his
you.
question.
Thank you, Architect Jimmy. I think with all the academicians here, one of them will invite you to share your paper. Definitely. All right, so thank you. We have got several other questions. So we would like to move on to the next question from Bashira. Hi, Architect Jimmy Lim. What an exhilarating session. Would like to know how was your transition from coming back from Sydney to practicing in Malaysia? So perhaps you could share with us your transition from overseas back to your local roots. How was the transition like?
Well, for some strange reason, well, first of all, I spent 13 years overseas. And when I came back, I came to Kuala Lumpur. Kuala Lumpur was completely new to me. There are a few things I did when I came back here. Number one, I drove around everywhere in Kuala Lumpur to discover places and what have you. I started to visit a lot. I used to drive out to Klang, Banting, all those fishing villages. I used to visit all the rubber estates. In those days, Tun Isma was still rubber estates. I used to drive to country roads and all that. I used to go and look at cemeteries. And essentially, for the first 5 years that I came back to Kuala Lumpur, I shut myself off from everything overseas. I did not contact, I did not read architectural magazines. I just focused in getting to know my own homeland. Right? I went to cemeteries. I looked at the type of architecture they had, the pavilions, the cemeteries, the woodwork, Chinese temple. I went to look at mosques. I went to all sorts of things. And so it was just a 5-year period of reacquisition. 5 years of refamiliarization with your own homeland. And in the process, you reacquire certain knowledge. Like I used to visit Perak, Ipoh, fascinated by the caves that were there, you know, and marvel at the thing. Used to visit the old temples, you know, and things like that. That was how I um, acquainted myself. Because one of the first project I did was to do a tourist development in Ipoh. Uh, we were asked by the chief planner of Perak, this of the firm I came back to. I was doing this project within the first 2 weeks of coming back to Malaysia to develop the Gunung Rapat area into a tourist area. So we went up to Ipoh, did a bit of racket and did a proposal, and then we submitted to the Perak State Secretary. So of course, when we presented that, I mean, that time I was very new, you know. We presented to the state authority and the guy was going on. We did a whole bunch of stuff with lots of drawings, you know, very nice drawings. I mean, I thought it was nice, or maybe other people thought it was shit, you know. But anyway, he was there, he was going, he was saying, where are all your financial report, the cost return and all that, you see. But then the thing is, the TOR for our submission was, we just explore what are the potential, and if there's potential, we'll do further studies. But this guy jumped ahead of himself. Oh, he was very critical. So at one stage, at one stage of the discussion, he made a statement and said, oh, the Gunung Rapat is just a limestone hill. I might as well just blast up the hill and sell the aggregates. I make money, you know, every cubic yard I sell, I make 5 ringgit. Right? So, you know, so that's it. I don't see anything new. By which time, of course, having been in Australia for 13 years, you are just like the Australian, you know, you just shoot from your hip. Then you know, excuse me, I say, yeah. I say, sir, if you think the beautiful Gunung Rapat is all just a whole heap of rocks, then I suppose when you look at all our drawings and all, it's just a bunch of paper for you. You can't see the beauty of what's inside. Oh, he got so mad, you know, the short little asshole got up and started jumping, hopping up and down. Yeah, how can you speak to me? Oh, you are very rude. Siapa ini orang? He went on jabber in Malay. I don't know what he was saying. Probably say, take him up or shoot him, you know. But I know my boss got so frightened. Hey, sorry, you know, calm him down. So after that, I shut up. I didn't say anything in the meeting. Then on our way back to K, I said, you know who that guy is? I said, don't know. He said, he's the most powerful man in Ipoh after the Sultan. He could call the police and send you out of here. I said, oh my God, okay, thank you. I learned. Okay, that's how I got assimilated back to Malaysia.
All right. So I think your IIC just increased after that, right? Your invisible intellectual ceiling. Okay, we have time for one last question, and we have got that last question here from architect Shahira Shaharuddin. Wonderfully entertaining architect Jimmy Lim. What's your take on the current norm of online architectural education adapted due to the pandemic, and would it create a more bawah tempurung environment with the online studio? So in a nutshell, you know, what's your opinion about online learning during the pandemic?
I think one way of doing it is, I think the universities, instead of doing online, you know, as it is, a lot of the lectures on a face-to-face with student cannot impart their knowledge. Can you imagine you put them behind a 电脑 to try and communicate? That level of commitment is going to drop even more. I think if you want to become creative thinkers, this is where a university of architecture, depending on how many students they have, they should scroll through who are the architectural practices that they think are worthy to impart knowledge, and to work up a kind of an arrangement with these practices to say, okay, you do online, then instead of you online, you get these practices to work out something with your students, right, online or whatever, so that they get real practical experience, which you then supplement with your theoretical intellectualization. I think that would become very beneficial. So in other words, what you're doing is you're taking advantage of a disadvantage and capitalizing on a negative in order to get a positive. This is what I call the Tai Chi of architecture.
All right, thank you, Architect Jimmy. We have about 6 minutes left, so I will take one more question from one Ashar. I'll read out that question. In Penang, there is another fight against the government over the 4,500 acres Fantasy Penang South Reclamation proposal that's going to affect the livelihood of fishermen and the environment. What is your opinion on the fact that PAM and big architects have decided to get involved promoting such unsustainable projects, and how should schools explain this kind of relationship to the students when they are teaching the students sustainable development?
Well, let me answer the easy question first. When you talk about schools teaching sustainable development, now what business does a school have to teach GBI as a subject? Is GBI as a subject to be taught in school? Now, GBI is not something, it's not a philosophy. GBI is a commercial entity, and to teach architecture students GBI and good GBI practices is rubbish. So that's the first thing. Schools got to stop that and don't do anything about it. Now, the next thing, what opinion about PAM and big architects doing things like that? Well, we all know, isn't it, that prostitution is the oldest profession in the world, and the bigger you the bigger you are, the bigger whore you become. That's my answer. Can't hear you.
Thank you very much, Architect Jimmy Lim. I think we have come to the end of our session, and in the chat box, as you may see, there are a lot of comments that I think suggest that you have been an entertaining presenter, and myself, I believe the students behind you or around you now as well have, I think, had a very entertaining Saturday morning. Yeah, so with that, we would really like to thank you. But before you go, I really have something that intrigued myself. How would your lecturer, as you were a student, so this was back to many decades ago, how would your lecturer describe you as a student in a word or a phrase before we end the session? Perhaps you can share with us.
Well, not lecturers. Lecturers at university. At university, they're quite. I will tell you about my high school.
All right.
When I was in Form 3, you know, there's a teacher. Every time when he comes into class, and the class stand up and say, "Good morning, sir." You know, he'll stand there, telling everybody down. He'll look around the class where I am, and then he'll point towards me. He said, "You." And then, of course, I pretend, you know, that I don't know who he's pointing at. But for a while, it became very obvious. And of course, my eyeball, I said, "Me?" He said, "Yeah, you." I said, "What?" He said, "Get out." I said, "What did I do? Why get out?" He said, "Get out." And I refused to move. So when I refused to move, he'll go to the blackboard, take the duster and throw it at me. And of course, I'm too fast. I dunked and it hit somebody else. So, but in the end, I have to go out, see, because, I mean, otherwise the class cannot go on. So I start to participate from outside the class in the corridor. So whenever he asks question, I will answer through the window. I say, Sir, I know the date Napoleon Bonaparte was born."
is that
That's-
okay? All right. Thank you so much. Thank you once again, Architect Jimmy Lim. We have been having a very happy and great session and entertaining as well. So once again, thank you.
Mm.
And thank you to
Thank you.
all the audience who are here today. And also thank you to Pam,
How many people?
CPD Unlimited, who have organized and hosted this session. So thank you very much. And I hope to see you again in PAM events. And for all the other
Yes.
participants, you may hop on to your next session according to the signups that you have done. So thank you and see you all again. Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Xia Xiu Kim.
It's okay. This time we won't have better afterwards.
Okay, that's it. Yeah.